Produced by Liang Gu, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, written by Luo Guanzhong. Chapter 1. The three heroes of the Taoyuan banquet are sworn brothers, and the hero who killed the yellow turban is the first to make a meritorious service. The rolling Yangtze River flows eastward, and the waves wash away the heroes. Right and wrong, success or failure turn around in vain. The green hills are still there. Several sunsets are red. The white-haired fisherman and woodcutter on the Nagisa River is used to watching the autumn moon and spring breeze. Happy reunion over a pot of turbid wine. Many things in ancient and modern times are all talked about with laughter. Tiao Jian, Linjiang Immortal. Talking about the general trend of the world, if we divide for a long time, we will unite, and if we unite for a long time, we will divide. The Seven Kingdoms fight over the weekend. Incorporated into Qin. After the fall of Qin, Chu and Han fought separately and merged with Han. The Han dynasty revolted after Emperor Gaozu killed the White Snake and unified the world. Later, it was revived by Guangwu and spread to Emperor Xian, and it was divided into three kingdoms. The cause of the chaos probably started with Emperors Huan and Ling. Emperor Huan imprisoned good people and respected eunuchs. When Emperor Huan died, Emperor Ling ascended the throne, and General Dou Wu and Grand Tutor Chen Fan assisted each other. At that time, the eunuch Chao Jia and others took power, and Dou Wu and Chen Fan planned to kill him. However, the secret was not kept secret, and he was harmed instead. Zhongzhuan became more and more unruly from then on. In April of the second year of Jianning, the emperor visited the Wendi Hall. As he ascended the throne, a strong wind suddenly rose in the corner of the palace. I saw a big green snake flying down from the beam and coiling on the chair. The emperor collapsed in shock, and rescuers rushed into the palace from left and right, while all the officials ran away. After a while, the snake disappeared. Suddenly there was a heavy thunderstorm, plus hail, which stopped at midnight, damaging countless houses. In February of the fourth year of Jianning, there was an earthquake in Luoyang. The sea water overflowed, and all the residents along the coast were swept into the sea by big waves. In the first year of Guanghe, the female chicken turned into a male. New June. More than 10 feet of black energy flew into the Wendi Hall. In the 7th month of autumn, a rainbow appeared in Yutong. All the shores of Wuyuan Mountain collapsed. All kinds of ominousness are not limited to one end. The emperor issued an edict and asked the ministers about the reason for the disaster, and the minister Kai Yong thought that Ni had turned into a chicken. It was caused by Fuzi's interference in politics, and his words were quite straightforward. The emperor read and sighed because he got up to change his clothes. Chao Jia peeped from behind and announced to his left and right. He then framed Yong for other things and released him into the fields. Later Zhang Rang, Zhao Zhong, Feng Su, Duan Gui, Chao Jia, Ho Lan, Jian Shua, Qing Kuang, Xia Yun. 10 of Guoxing's friends became traitors, and they were named 10 constant attendants. The emperor trusted Zhang Rang and called him father. The government is failing day by day, causing confusion among the people in the world, and thieves are rising in droves. At that time, there were 3 brothers in Jiulu County. One was Zhang Jiao, the other was Zhang Bao, and the other was Zhang Liang. That Zhang Jiao was originally a talented scholar. He went into the mountains to collect herbs and met an old man with blue eyes and a childish face. He held a quinoa staff. He called Zhang Jiao to a cave and taught him the 3 volumes of the Book of Heaven, saying, "This is called the essential techniques of typing. If you get it, it will be proclaimed by heaven in this contemporary era and save the world universally. If you have a different intention, you will get bad retribution." Jiao asked for his name. The old man said, "I am an old immortal from Nanhua." After saying this, he turned into a breeze and flew away. He got this book, studied it at dawn and night, and was able to call the wind and rain, so he was named Taoist of Taiping. In the first month of the first year of Zhongping, the epidemic spread. Zhang Jiao spreads talisman water to treat people's illnesses, and calls himself a great virtuous teacher. Jiao has more than 500 disciples who travel far and wide, all of whom can write talismans and recite incantations. He was called a general and falsely said, "The sky is dead, and the yellow sky will stand. If you are aged Jiazi, the world will be auspicious." Everyone was ordered to write the word Jiazi in white clay on the door of their home. People from the 8 states of Qing, Yu, Su, Ji, Jing, Yang, Yan, and Hunan all serve the great sage Zhang Jiao's name. Jiao sent his party Ma Yuani to exchange gold and silk secretly, and made friends with him, thinking that he would be an internal response. On the one hand, he sent his disciple Tang Zhou to write letters and report to him. In the Tang dynasty, Zhou Nai went directly to the province to report the rebellion. The emperor summoned General He Jin to mobilize troops to capture Ma Yuani and behead him. Then he imprisoned Feng Su and others. When Zhang Jiao heard about the governor's revelation, he raised his troops at starry night and called himself General Tiangong. Zhang Bao was called General Di Gong, and Zhang Liang was called General Rengong. The officers and soldiers were in awe. He Jin reported to the emperor that he immediately issued an edict, ordering everyone to prepare for the enemy and make meritorious deeds against the thieves. On the one hand, he sent the generals Lu Ji, Huangfu Song, and Zhu Jun to attack them in 3 separate groups with their best troops. Let's talk about Zhang Jiao's army, which invaded the boundary of Yuzhou. Lu Yan, the governor of Yuzhou, was a native of Jingling, Jiangxia, and the descendant of King Gong of Hanlu. At that time, I heard that the bandits were coming, so I summoned the school captain Zhou Jing to make plans. Jing said, "There are many thieves and we have few soldiers." Then he went out to recruit volunteers. The article went to Zhuoxian and led to a hero in Zhuoxian. That man was not very good at reading. He was kind-hearted, taciturn, and could express his emotions and anger. He had great ambitions and liked to make friends with the world's heroes. He was born to be 7 feet and 5 inches tall. His ears hang down from his shoulders, his hands are above his knees, his eyes can focus on his ears, his face is like a crown of jade, and his lips are as if they were painted with grease. After Lu Sheng, King Jing of Zhongshan, he was the great-great-grandson of Emperor Jing of the Han dynasty. His surname was Lu Mingbei, and his courtesy name was Xuanda. In the past, Lu Zhen, the son of Lu Sheng, was granted the title of Marquis of Zhuolu Ting during the Han dynasty. Later, he lost his title to Chu Jin, so he left this branch in Zhuoxian County. Xuanda's ancestor Lu Xiong and his father Lu Hong. Hong Zheng promoted filial piety and honesty, and also tried to serve as an official. He died early. Xuanda was an orphan, and he was extremely filial to his mother. His family was poor, and he made a living by selling clothes and weaving mats. He lives in Lusang village, this county, southeast of his home. There is a big mulberry tree, more than 5 feet high. Looking at it from a distance, children look like the hood of a car. The Prime Minister said, "This family must have a noble man." When Schwanda was a child, he played with the children in the village under a tree and said, "I am the emperor, so I should ride on this chariot." His uncle Lu Yuanqi was surprised by his words and said, "This son very human." Seeing that Schwanda's family was poor, he often gave him money. When he was 15 years old, his mother sent him on a study tour, where he studied under Jing Xian and Lu Ji, and became friends with Gong Sun Zan and others. By the time Lu Yen issued a notice to recruit troops, Schwanda was already 28 years old. When I saw the announcement that day, I sighed with emotion. Then a man said sternly, "Why do you sigh when a man doesn't contribute to the country?" Schwanda looked back at the man, who was 8 feet long, with a leopard's head and eyes. A certain person's surname is Zhang Mingfei, whose given name is Ida. He lived in Zhuo County for a long time, owned quite a lot of land, sold wine and butchered pigs, and was good at making friends with the world's heroes. Just then I saw the public sighing after looking at the list, so I asked him. Schwanda said, "I am a member of the Han dynasty. My surname is Lu and my given name is Bei. Today I heard that the Yellow Turbans are promoting chaos. He has the ambition to destroy thieves and bring peace to the people, but he is unable to do so, so he sighs." Fei said, "I have quite a lot of money. How about recruiting brave men from the countryside to do great things together with the public?" Schwanda was very happy, so he went into the village shop with his companions to drink. In the drinking room, he saw a big man pushing a cart. After resting in front of the shop, he sat down and called the bartender, "Hurry and pour some wine. I will rush into the city to join the army." Schwanda invited him to sit with him and called him by name. The man said, "My surname is Guan Mingyu, my given name is Changsheng, later changed to Yunchang, and I am a good man from Hedong. Because I was a powerful man and relied on my power to dominate others, I killed him and I fled the rivers and lakes for 5 or 6 years. Now I heard that there was a recruitment here. The army defeats thieves. Came here to apply." Schwanda then told him his ambition, and Yunchang was very happy. We went to Zhang Fei's village to discuss important matters together. Fei said, "There is a peach garden behind my village, and the flowers are in full bloom. Tomorrow we will offer sacrifices to heaven and earth in the garden, and the 3 of us will marry. As brothers, we work together. Then big things can happen." Schwanda and Yunchang responded in unison, "That's very good." The next day, in the peach garden, a black ox and a white horse ceremony was prepared. The 3 of them burned incense and bowed before saying an oath, "I remember Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. Although they have different surnames, they have become brothers. Then work together to rescue the poor and help the people in danger, report to the country and protect the common people. I don't want to be born in the same year, the same month and the same day. I just want to die in the same year, the same month and the same day." Emperors, queens, and queens learn from this fact that they are treacherous and ungrateful, and both heaven and man are killed. After the oath, I worshipped Schwanda as my elder brother, followed by Guan Yu. Zhang Fei is his younger brother. After offering sacrifices to heaven and earth, they slaughtered the cattle again and made wine. They gathered the warriors from the village and gathered more than 300 people. They drank deeply in the peach garden and got drunk. I will pack up my weapons in the future, but I regret that I will have no horses to ride on. While he was thinking about it, he reported that he had 2 guests, leading a companion to drive a herd of horses. Come to the bank. Xuanda said, "God bless me." The three of them came out of the village to greet him. It turned out that the two customers were big businessmen in Zhongshan, one Zhang Shiping and the other Su Shuang. They went north every year to sell horses, but they recently returned due to the invasion of Japan. Xuanda invited the two of them to the village and set up a wine steward. Tell the story of wanting to bring peace to the people. The two guests were overjoyed and wanted to give each other 50 good horses, 500 taels of gold and silver, and 1,000 kilograms of iron for use as utensils. Xuanda thanked the two guests and ordered a good craftsman to make a double sword. Yun Chang made the Qinglong Yenhua sword. Also known as the Lengyan saw, it weighs 82 pounds. Zhang Fei made an 8-point steel spear. Each wears full body armor. Then he recognized Xuanda as his nephew. Within a few days, people reported that the Yellow Turban General Qing Yuanji had led an army of 50,000 to invade Zhujian. Lu Yan ordered Zhou Jing to lead Xuanda and 3 other men with 500 troops to defeat the enemy. Xuanda and others happily led the army forward until they met the thieves at the foot of Daxing Mountain. The thieves all wore their hair disheveled and wiped their foreheads with yellow scarves. At the moment the two armies were facing each other, Xuanda came out with Yun Chang on the left and Ida on the right. He raised his whip and shouted, "Rebellious traitors, why don't you surrender early?" Qing Yuanji was furious and sent his deputy Deng Mao to fight. Zhang Fei stretched out his 8-foot-long snake spear and raised his hand. He stabbed Deng Mao in the heart and fell from his horse. When Qing Yuanji saw that Deng Mao had been defeated, he slapped his horse and wielded his sword to capture Zhang Fei. Yun Chang waved his sword and rode his horse to meet him. When Qing Yuanji saw it, he was taken aback and was caught off guard. Yun Chang's sword started and was slashed into 2 pieces. Later generations wrote a poem praising the two of them, saying, "The hero Lu Ying is now testing her spear and her sword. Show your power when you first come out, mark your name with 3 points." When all the thieves saw that Qing Yuanji was beheaded, they all turned their sides and ran away. Xuanda sent his troops to pursue him. Countless people surrendered and came back victorious. Lu Yan personally greeted him and rewarded the sergeant for his service. The next day, I received a letter from Gong Jing, the prefect of Qingzhou, saying that the Yellow Turban bandits would besiege the city and begging for rescue. Lu Yan discussed with Xuanda. Xuanda said, Lu Yan ordered Zhou Jing to send 5,000 troops to Qingzhou together with Xuanda, Guan, and Zhang. When the thieves saw the rescue force arriving, they divided their forces and fought in melee. Xuanda was outnumbered and retreated 30 miles to the stronghold. Xuanda said to Guan and Zhang, "There are many thieves but we are few, we must use surprising troops to win." Then he divided Guangong and led 1,000 troops to the left side of the mountain, and Zhang Fei led 1,000 troops to the right side of the mountain. They called the gold number and all went out to respond. The next day, Xuanda and Zhou Jing led the army to advance with great fanfare. The thieves fought, Xuanda led the army and retreated. The thieves took advantage of the situation to catch up and cross the mountains. Xuanda's army all rang gold, and the left and right armies came out simultaneously. Xuanda's army turned around and killed again. Attacked from 3 directions, the thieves were defeated. Rushing straight to Qingzhou city, the prefect Gong Jing also led the militia out of the city to help in the battle. The thieves were defeated, many were killed, and the siege of Qingzhou was lifted. Later generations wrote a poem praising Xuanda, saying, "There is a magical power in planning and final calculation. 2 tigers must be inferior to 1 dragon. You can achieve great achievements when you first come out, so you should be divided into guqiong." After Gong Jing rewarded his troops, Zhou Jing wanted to return. Xuanda said, "Recently I heard that Zhonglang's general Lu Ji was fighting with the thief Zhang Zhang in Guangzhou. I had studied with Lu Ji in the past and wanted to help him." So Zhou Jing led the army back, and Xuanda, Guan and Zhang led 500 people from their headquarters to go to Guangzhou. When they arrived at Lu Ji's army, they entered the tent and saluted, with the purpose of coming. Lu Ji was overjoyed and stayed in front of the tent to listen. At that time, there were 150,000 Zhangjia rebels and 50,000 troops. They resisted Guangzhou and there was no victory or defeat. Ji said to Xuanda, "I am surrounding the bandits here." The bandits' younger brothers Zhang Liang and Zhang Bao are in Yingchuan, facing off against Huangfu Song and Zhu Jun. "You can lead your troops, and I will help you with 1,000 officers and soldiers to go to Yingchuan to inquire about the news and make an appointment to arrest them." Xuanda accepted the order and led the army to Yingchuan at night. At that time, Huangfu Song and Zhu Jun led the army to resist the thieves. The thieves' battle was unfavorable, so they retreated to Changxi and formed a camp based on grass. Song and Junji said, "The thieves have formed a camp based on grass, and we should attack them with fire." Then he ordered the sergeants to each bundle a handful of grass and ambush them secretly. That night a strong wind suddenly came up. After the second watch, they set fire to each other. Song and Jun each led their troops to attack the bandits' stronghold. The flames spread to the sky and the bandits were panicked. The horses were no longer strong enough for their saddles, and the men were no longer strong enough for their armor, and they were scattered in all directions. After fighting until dawn, Zhang Liang and Zhang Bao defeated the remaining soldiers and fled. Suddenly I saw a group of soldiers and horses, all flying red flags, coming at the head and blocking the way. A general flashed out at the head, 7 feet long, with thin eyes and a long beard. His official title is cavalry captain, and he is from Chaojun, Pei State. His surname is Chao, his given name is Chao, and his given name is Mengda. Chao Song, Chao's father, whose real surname was Xiaoho, assumed the surname Chao because he was the adopted son of Chao Teng, who served as a regular servant. Chao Song was born in Chao, whose nickname is Ma, and his last name is auspicious. When Chao Chao was young, he loved hunting, singing and dancing. Powerful and resourceful. Chao had an uncle who was angry when he saw Chao wandering around and told Chao Song. Song blames Chao. Chao suddenly hatched a plan. When he saw his uncle coming, he fell to the ground as if he had a stroke. His uncle told Song in surprise, and Song looked at him anxiously. "It's okay," Song said. "Uncle said that you had a stroke. Have you recovered now?" Chao Chao said, "My son has never had this disease. Because he fell out of love with his uncle, he is blind to his ears." Song believed his words. Later his uncle told Chao Chao, but Song did not listen. Therefore, Chao became wanton and dissolute. At that time, there was Qiao Xian, who said to Chao, "The world will be in chaos. It can't be helped without the talents of the world. Whoever can be at peace is with you." The son is a capable minister in governing the world, and he is also a traitor in troubled times. Cao Cao was overjoyed when he heard this. At the age of 20, he was promoted to be a filial and honest man, except for the northern captain of Luoyang. When he first took office, he set up more than 10 five-colored sticks at the 4 gates of the county. Anyone who violated the prohibition and did not avoid the rich and nobles would be punished. Of Jian Shua's uncle, who often served in the palace, went out at night with a knife in his hand. When he was patrolling at night, he caught it and punished him with a stick. Therefore, no one inside or outside dares to offend, and his reputation is quite impressive. Later, he was ordered by Duanxiu. Because of the yellow turbans, he was worshipped as the cavalry commander and led 5,000 horse and infantry troops to Yingchuan to help in the battle. At the time of Zhang Liang, Zhang Bao was defeated and fled, but Cao Cao stopped him and killed him, beheading more than 10,000 people, and captured flags, golden drums, and many horses. Zhang Liang and Zhang Bao fought to the death and escaped. When Zhang came to Yingchuan, he heard the shouts of killing and saw the flames burning in the sky. When he hurriedly led his troops to come, the thieves had already been defeated. Xuanda met Huangfu Song and Zhu Jun and thought of Lu Ji. Song said, Zhang Liang and Zhang Bao are so weak that they must join Guangzong and follow Zhang Jiao. Xuanda can go to help at Starry Night. Xuanda accepted the order and led his troops back. Halfway there, he saw a group of military horses escorting a carriage. The prisoner in the carriage was Lu Ji. Xuanda was shocked, rolled his saddle and dismounted, and asked why. Ji said, I will encircle the corner, and the general will be able to break it. Because the horns used sorcery, they could not win immediately. The imperial court sent Huang Menzhuofeng to come to investigate and asked me for a bribe. I replied, there is still a shortage of military rations. How can I have enough money to flatter the angels? Zhuofeng responded with hatred to the court, saying that I was too lazy to fight because I was too lazy to fight. Therefore, the imperial court was furious and sent General Dong Zhuo to take my place and take me back to the capital for questioning. After Zhang Fei heard this, he was furious and wanted to kill the escorting soldiers to save Lu Ji. Xuanda stopped urgently and said, the imperial court has its own public opinion. How can you make a mistake? The sergeants surrounded Lu Ji and went away. Guan Gong said, Lu Zhonglang has been arrested, and others are leading the army. We have nowhere to go, so we might as well go back to Zhujuan. Xuanda followed his words and led the army northward. After walking for only 2 days, I suddenly heard a loud shout from behind the mountain. Xuanda led the pass, and Zhang Zong immediately went to Gaogang to look at it, and saw that the Han army was defeated. Behind them are mountains and wild fields, covered with yellow scarves, and the banner reads, General Tiangong. Xuanda said, this is a great way to open your horns. You can fight quickly. The 3 men led the troops out on flying horses. Zhang Jiaojing defeated Dong Zhuo and took advantage of the situation to come forward. Suddenly, 3 men rushed to kill him, and Jiao's army was in chaos. Lost more than 50 miles. The 3 of them rescued Dong Zhuo and returned to the stronghold. Zhuo asked the 3 of them what their current positions were. Xuanda said, white body. Zhuo was so disrespectful. When Xuanda came out, Zhang Fei was furious and said, we personally went to the bloody battle to save this guy, but he was so rude. If we don't kill him, he will be so rude. It's hard to get rid of my anger. I want to bring my sword into the account to kill Dong Zhuo. It is exactly. People's snobbery is still in ancient times. Who knows that a hero is a white body? A quick man is as virtuous as a wing, and he will kill all the heartless people in the world. After all, what is Dong Zhuo's life? And listen to the breakdown below. Chapter 2. Zhang Yida angrily whipped the postal supervisor, and Uncle Higuo planned to kill the eunuch. Let's say that Dong Zhuo, courtesy named Zhongying, was from Lintao in the west of Longxi province. Xuanda and Guangong stopped and said, "He is an official of the imperial court. How can he kill without permission?" Fei said, "If I don't kill this guy, I will obey his orders instead. I won't accept it. My second brother wants to live here. I go somewhere else." Xuanda said, "The three of us share life and death. How can we be separated? It would be better if they all went elsewhere." Fei said, "If this is the case, it will ease my hatred a little." So the three of them led their troops to Zhu Jun overnight. Jun treated him well and joined forces to attack Zhang Bao. At that time, Cao Cao and Huangfu Song attacked Zhang Liang. The battle took place in Xuyang. Here Zhu Jun attacks Zhang Bao. Zhang Bao led 80,000 to 90,000 thieves and stationed them behind the mountain. Jun ordered Xuanda to be his vanguard and fight against the thieves. Zhang Bao sent his deputy, Gao Sheng, to mount a fight, and Xuanda sent Zhang Fei to attack him. Fei flew his horse, raised his spear, and fought with Sheng. Without counting, the thorn rises and the horse falls. Xuanda's troops rushed over. Zhang Bao immediately wore his hair and sword, and began to perform magic tricks. I saw wind and thunder, and a black air fell from the sky. After being defeated, he returned and discussed with Zhu Jun. Jun said, "He is using sorcery. I will kill the blood of pigs, sheep and dogs in the future, and order the soldiers to lie down on the top of the mountain. Wait for the thieves to come, and pour them from the high slope. The method: lie down on the high hill behind the mountain and prepare the blood of pigs, sheep, dogs and filth." The next day, Zhang Bao waved flags and beat drums, leading the army to fight, and Xuanda came out to meet him. At the time of the confrontation, Zhang Bao's tactics caused strong winds and thunder, flying sand and rocks, black air filling the sky, billowing people and horses, and falling from the sky. Xuanda turned his horse and left, but Zhang Bao came with his troops. When they were about to pass the top of the mountain, Guan and Zhang Fujuan fired their cannons and poured out filth. But I saw paper figures and straw horses falling to the ground one after another in the air. The wind and thunder stopped, and the sand and gravel stopped flying. Zhang Bao understood the Dharma and was eager to retreat. Zhua Guangong. Zhang Fei on the right, both armies came out, Xuanda and Zhu Jun caught up behind him, and the bandits were defeated. When Xuanda saw the banner of General Di Gong, he came on Pegasus, but Zhang Bao fled away. Xuanda fired an arrow and hit his left arm. Zhang Bao escaped with an arrow and walked into Yangcheng, unable to escape. Zhu Jun led his troops to surround Yangcheng and attack, and at the same time sent people to inquire about Huangfu Song. The spies reported back and said, "Huangfu Song won a great victory." The imperial court ordered Song to replace Dong Zhuo because of his repeated defeats. When Song arrived, Zhang Jiao was dead. Zhang Liang led his troops and refused to fight with our army. Huangfu Song defeated Zhang Liang in 7 battles in a row and killed him in Xuyang. A coffin with Zhang Jiao was distributed, the corpse was killed and the head was taken and sent to the capital. The rest of the people surrendered. The imperial court restored Lu Ziyuan to the official position. Cao Cao also used his meritorious service to remove the prime minister of Jinan and send his troops to take office immediately. When Zhu Jun heard about it, he urged his troops and horses to attack Yangqing with all his strength. The thieves were in danger, and the thieves' general Yan Zheng assassinated Zhang Bao and surrendered. Zhu Jun then tied the number of counties and expressed his victory. At that time, 3 remaining members of the Yellow Turban Party, Zhao Hong, Han Zhong, and Sun Zhong, gathered tens of thousands of people to watch the catastrophe and claim revenge against Zhang Jiao. The imperial court ordered Zhu Jun to attack him immediately with the victorious army. Jun followed the imperial edict and led his army forward. At that time, the thieves occupied Wansheng, and Jun led his troops to attack it. Zhao Hong sent Han Zhong to fight. Jun sent Xuanda, Guan and Zhang to attack the southwest corner of the city. Han Zhong led all his elite troops to the southwest corner to resist the enemy. Zhu Jun commanded 2,000 iron cavalry and headed towards the northeast corner. The thieves were afraid of losing the city, so they hurriedly abandoned the southwest and returned. Xuanda killed him from behind. The thieves were defeated and rushed into Wansheng. Zhu Jun divided his troops and surrounded him on all sides. The city was short of food, so Han Zhong sent people out of the city to surrender. Jun doesn't allow it. Xuanda said, in the past, when Emperor Gaozu conquered the world, he was able to recruit surrender and accept obedience. Why did you? This is the moment. During the reign of Xiang in the past Qin dynasty, the world was in great chaos and the people had no definite leader, so they summoned surrender, rewards and attachments to persuade them to come. Now the sea is unified, but the yellow turbans are rebelling. If they are allowed to surrender, there will be no way to encourage good. Not a good idea. Xuanda said, we cannot allow the enemy to surrender. Now surrounded by iron barrels, the thieves cannot beg for surrender and will fight to the death. Tens of thousands of people are united as one, which is not enough. If you have no intention of fighting, you can capture him immediately. Jun Ranji then withdrew his 2 armies from the southeast and attacked the northwest together. Han Zhonghua led his troops to abandon the city and run away. Jun, Xuanda, Guan, and Zhang led the 3 armies to cover up the attack and shot Han Zhong to death. The rest were scattered. While chasing, Zhao Hong, Sun Zhong led the thieves to fight with Jun. Seeing the great momentum, Jun led his troops to retreat temporarily. Hong took advantage of the situation to recapture Wansheng. Jun left 10 miles away and went to the village. Just as he was about to attack, he suddenly saw a group of men and horses coming due east. The first general was born with a broad forehead and a broad face, a tiger body and a bare waist. He was a native of Fujian, Wu County. His surname was Sun, his given name was Jian, and his courtesy name was Wentai. He was the descendant of Sun Wuzi. When he was 17 years old, he went to Qiantang with his father and saw more than 10 pirates who robbed merchants of their property and divided the spoils on the shore. Jian said to his father, "This thief can be captured." Then he struggled to pick up the knife and go ashore. He raised his voice and shouted, directing things from east to west, as if calling someone. The thieves thought that officers and soldiers were coming, so they abandoned their belongings and ran away. Jian catches up and kills a thief. Because he was well known in the county, he was recommended as a school captain. Later, the demon thief Xuchang of Kuaiji rebelled, calling himself Emperor Yangming, and gathering tens of thousands of people. Jian and the commander-in-chief recruited more than 1,000 warriors, joined the prefectures and counties to defeat them, and beheaded Xuchang and his son Su Shao. Gathered young men and merchants from the countryside, as well as more than 1,500 elite soldiers from Huaixi, to come to the rescue. Zhu Jun was overjoyed and ordered Jian to attack the south gate, Xuanda to attack the north gate, Zhu Jun to attack the west gate, and leave the east gate with the thieves. Sun Jian ascended the city first. More than 20 thieves were killed, and the thieves fled. Zhao Hong's flying horse suddenly jumped out and took Sun Jian directly. Jian flew from the city to seize Hong's tree and stabbed Hong off his horse, but he rode Hong's horse and flew back and forth to kill the thieves. Sun Zhong led the thieves to protrude from the north gate and were facing Xuanda. Xuanda drew his bow and shot an arrow, which hit Sun Zhong in the middle, causing him to fall from his horse. Zhu Jun's army then covered up the massacre, beheading tens of thousands of people, and those who surrendered were hopeless. Along the way to Nanyang, more than 10 counties are all flat. The Jun squadron returned to Beijing and was granted the title of Chariot and Cavalry General, Hunan Yin. Liu Bei and other meritorious deeds. Jian Renren, except for other counties, was immediately appointed. However, Xuanda waited for a long time and could not get rid of the order. The three of them were unhappy and went for a leisurely walk on the street. Just as the Dr. Zhang Jun's car arrived. When Xuanda saw it, he reported his achievements. Jun was shocked and went into the court to see the emperor and said, "In the past, when the Yellow Turbans rebelled, they were all led by Shi Chang's attendants selling officials and titles. They would not use them unless they were relatives, and they would not punish them unless they were enemies, which led to great chaos in the world. Today it is appropriate to kill 10 regular servants, hang their heads in the southern suburbs, and send envoys to inform the world. Those who have meritorious services will be heavily rewarded, and then the world will be peaceful." Shi Chang's attendant told the emperor, "Zhang Jun deceived the Lord." The emperor ordered the warriors to drive Zhang Jun away. The 10 regular servants discussed together, "This will definitely break the Yellow Turban. Those who have made great achievements will not be removed from the award, so there will be complaints. It is not too late to teach the provincial family Quan to pay attention to the minor name later." Therefore, Xuanda was awarded the title of Lieutenant of Anxi County, Zhongshan Prefecture, Dingzhou, and soon took office. Xuanda dispersed his troops back to his hometown, left his personal entourage with more than 20 people, and came to Anxi County with Guan and Zhang to take office. He was in charge of county affairs for 1 month, and he did not cause any harm to the people in autumn, and the people were all converted. After taking office, he and Guan and Zhang shared the same table when eating and sleeping on the same bed. For example, Xuanda sits in a crowd of people, and Guan and Zhang stand and wait, untiring all day long. Before arriving in the county in April, the imperial court issued an edict that all those who had military merit and were senior officials should be eliminated. Xuanda is suspected of being dispatched. When the postal department arrived at the county, Xuanda went out to greet him. When he saw the postal department, he saluted him. The governor sat on his horse and Weiwei responded with his whip finger. Both Guan and Zhang were angry. When he arrived at the post office, the governor sat high on the south side, and Xuanda stood at the foot of the steps. After a long time, the governor asked, Where did Lu Xianwei come from? Xuanda said, Bei is the queen of King Jing of Zhongshan. He fought against the Yellow Turbans from Zhuo County and fought in more than 30 battles. He performed quite a small job, so he was dismissed from his current post. The governor shouted loudly, You pretended to be a relative of the emperor and falsely claimed your achievements. Now the imperial court issued an edict. I am about to punish such abusive officials. Xuanda retreated with a loud voice. He returned to the county and discussed with the county officials. The officials said, The governor is trying to show his authority, just to bribe his ears. Xuanda said, I have no offense against Minxiu, so how can I give him the property? The next day, the superintendent of posts first picked up the county officials. The order accused the county captain of harming the people. Xuanda went to ask for forgiveness several times, but was blocked by the door servants and refused to let go of the ginseng. But it was said that Zhang Fei drank several glasses of wine and rode past the post house. He saw 50 or 60 old people, all crying bitterly in front of the door. Fei asked why. All the old men replied, The superintendent is forcing the county officials to harm Mr. Lu. We all came to complain, but we were not allowed to let him in. Instead, we were driven away and beaten by the gatekeepers. Zhang Fei was furious, opened his round eyes, and bit the steel to pieces. Yeah, roll your saddle and dismount, go straight into the post house, and try to stop the doorman. He went straight to the back hall and saw the governor sitting in the hall, tying the county official to the ground. Fei shouted, Thieves who harm the people. Do you recognize me? Before the governor could say anything, Zhang Fei grabbed his hair and pulled him out of the post. He tied him to a horse post in front of the county and climbed down the wicker. He went to supervise the police and whipped his legs vigorously, breaking dozens of wicker sticks in succession. Xuanda was wondering when he heard the commotion in front of the county. He asked the people around him and replied, General Zhang tied up a man and beat him up in front of the county. Xuanda hurriedly went to watch and saw that the person who tied up was the postal supervisor. Xuanda was surprised and asked why. Fei said, These thieves are harming the people. It would be worse if they didn't kill them. Today, I was insulted by the supervisor. I think that there is no place for a swan and a phoenix to live among the thorns and tangerines. It is better to kill the governor, abandon the official post and return home, instead of planning a far-reaching plan. Xuanda then took the seal ribbon and hung it on the governor's neck. He scolded him and said, I have killed you for harming the people, but I will spare your life now. I will return the seal and ribbon and leave from now on. The governor returned and reported to the prefect of Dingzhou. The prefect Xinwen sent people to capture him. Xuanda, Guan, and Zhang went to Daizhou to surrender to Lu Hui. Hui saw that Xuanda was a clan member of the Han dynasty, so he stayed at home without mentioning anything. However, it is said that the 10 constant servants hold great power and discuss with each other. If anyone does not follow their own example, they will be punished. Zhao Zhong and Zhang Rang sent people to ask for gold and silk from the Yellow Turban soldiers. Those who refused were dismissed from their posts. Huangfu Song and Zhu Jun both refused to agree, so Zhao Zhong and others dismissed him from office. The emperor also made Zhao Zhong and others chariot and cavalry generals, and Zhang Rang and other 13 people were made marquises. The worse the government becomes, the more people will complain. So Chu Xing, a bandit in Changsha, rebelled. Zhang Ju and Zhang Chun in Yuyang rebelled. Ju was called the son of heaven, and Chu was called general. The snowflakes on the table are in danger. The 10 regular attendants all hid themselves and did not show up. One day, the emperor was having a banquet with Shi Chang in the back garden, admonishing the official Lu Tao, and went to the emperor to express his condolences. The emperor asked why. Tao said, "The world is in danger, your majesty still drink." "What's the danger?" Tao said, "Thieves from all directions have risen together and invaded the prefectures and counties. All the disasters were caused by the 10 constant servants selling their official positions to harm the people and deceiving the emperor. All the officials in the imperial court have gone, and the disaster is now." The 10 regular attendants all knelt before the emperor without their hats and said, "The ministers are incompatible. I can't live. I wish to beg for my life and return to the fields, and use all my property to support the military." After saying this, he cried bitterly. The emperor angrily said to Tao, "You also have servants in your family. Why don't you tolerate me?" He called the warrior to push out and kill him. Lu Tao shouted, "I will not hesitate to die." It's a pity that the Han dynasty has been in power for more than 400 years, and it's over now. The warriors came out with Tao in their arms and were about to execute him. A minister stopped him and said, "Don't do anything. Wait for my advice." As everyone watched, it was Situ Chen Dan who walked into the palace to admonish the emperor and said, "For what crime did Lu Jiani get punished?" The emperor said, "Slandering a close minister is disrespectful to me." Dan said, "The people of the world want to eat the meat of the 10 constant servants. Your Majesty respects them as their parents. They have no merit and are all granted the title of Marquis. If your Majesty does not reflect on himself, the country will soon be destroyed." The emperor said, "Feng Zhen caused chaos, but the cause is unknown. Among the 10 constant servants, is there not 1 or 2 loyal ministers?" Chen Dan remonstrated by banging his head on the steps. The emperor was angry and ordered him to be taken out, and he and Lu Tao were both thrown into prison. That night, Shi Chang's servants murdered him in prison. The fake emperor ordered Sun Jian to be the governor of Changsha, and he attacked District Star. Within 50 days, he reported victory and Jiangxia was peaceful, and he made Jian the Marquis of Wucheng. Confess Lu Yu as the shepherd of Yuzhou, and lead troops to Yuyang to conquer Zhangju and Zhangchun. He made Xuanda the captain, led his troops to the robbers' nest, and fought with the robbers for several days, which dampened their morale. Zhang Chuanzhan was fierce and violent, and the soldiers' minds changed. The leader of his tent assassinated Zhang Chun, offered his head, and led his troops to surrender. Seeing that Zhang Ju was defeated, he also hanged himself. The fishing sun is flat. Lu Yu reported Liu Bei's great achievements, and the imperial court pardoned the crime of whipping the governor, removed Mi Cheng, and moved him to Gaotang Wei. Gong Sun Zan also expressed Chen Xuanda's previous achievements and recommended him to be a commander of another department and guard the county magistrate of Pingyuan. Xuanda was in the plains and had a lot of money, food, troops and horses, and was trying to restore the old atmosphere. Lu Yu was awarded the title of Tai Wei for his meritorious service against the bandits. In the summer of the 6th year of Zhongping, in April, Emperor Ling was seriously ill and summoned General He into the palace to discuss his funeral. Then He Jin got up and slaughtered the family, because the emperor favored the beautiful Lady Wang and gave birth to his son Xie. Then he became jealous and poisoned the beautiful Lady Wang. The prince was raised in the palace of Empress Dowager Dong. Empress Dowager Dong was the mother of Emperor Ling and the wife of Lu Chang, Marquis of Jiaduding. It is for the Ling Emperor. When Emperor Ling succeeded to the throne, he welcomed his adoptive mother into the palace and honored her as the Queen Mother. Empress Dowager Dong tried to persuade the emperor to make Prince Xia the crown prince. The emperor also favored Xia and wanted to establish it. He must be punished first to avoid future troubles. The emperor said so and entered the palace because of Xian. Entering the palace gate, Sima Pan Yin said to enter, "You are not allowed to enter the palace." Jian Shuo wanted to murder the duke. Jin was shocked and hurried back to his private house. He summoned all the ministers and wanted to kill the eunuchs. A man on the seat stepped forward and said, "The power of eunuchs arises from the moment of confrontation and confrontation. The imperial court spreads widely. How can it be executed? If the secret is not kept secret, there will be disaster of annihilation of the clan. Please elaborate." Jin looked at it, and it was Cao Cao, the captain of the Dian army. Jin scolded, "You junior, how can you know the important affairs of the court?" "I was hesitating." Pan Yin arrived and said, "The emperor has passed away. Today, Sai Shua has discussed with the Shichang attendants to keep the mourning secret. They have issued an edict to announce that Uncle Higua has entered the palace. Then plot a thief." Jin said, "Who dares to challenge the thief with my lord?" A man stepped forward and said, "I would like to borrow 5,000 elite soldiers to cut through the pass and enter, install a new king, kill all the eunuchs, clear the court and bring peace to the world." When I came to see him, I saw that he was the son of Situ Yuan Feng and the nephew of Yuan Kai. His name was Shao. His courtesy name was Ben Shu, and now he is Silly Shao Wei. He Jin was overjoyed and ordered 5,000 imperial guards. Shao is fully clothed. He Jin introduced more than 30 ministers such as He Yong, Sun Yu, Zheng Tai, etc., and came in one after another. After all the officials had finished paying their respects, Yuan Shao entered the palace to collect Jian Shuo. Shuo panicked and walked into the imperial garden. Under the shade of the flowers, he was killed by the official Guosheng. All the imperial troops led by Shuo surrendered. After being panicked, he reported to He Ho and said, "The one who planned to frame the general was Sai Shuo alone, and did not do anything about the ministers." Now the general listens to Yuan Shao's words and wants to kill the ministers and others. "I beg for mercy from the Empress Dowager." "Empress Dowager," he said, "don't worry, I will protect you." He announced the order to enter. The Empress Dowager secretly said, "You and I were born in a humble background. How could we enjoy this wealth without Zhang Rang and others? Now that Jian Shuo is unkind and has been executed, why do you listen to others and want to execute the eunuch?" He Jin listened and said, he went out to address the officials and said, "Jian Shuo has plotted to harm me and destroy his family. There is no need to harm the rest." Yuan Shao said, "If we don't cut the grass and get rid of the roots, we will definitely lose our lives." Jin said, "I have made up my mind, don't say more." All the officials have withdrawn. The next day, the Queen Mother ordered He Jin to participate in the affairs of the minister, and the rest were granted official positions. Empress Dowager Dong announced that Zhang Rang and others had entered the palace for discussion and said, "He Jin's sister, I promoted him from the beginning. Today his son is the emperor, and all the officials inside and outside are his confidants. The authority is too heavy, what will I do?" Rang said, The empress can come to court and listen to the government behind the curtain. Make the Prince Xia the king. Add his uncle Dong as a major official to control the military power. Make important use of ministers, etc. Great things can be planned. Empress Dowager Dong was overjoyed. The next day the court was established. Empress Dowager Dong issued an edict, conferring the title of Prince Xia as King Chenlu, Dong Zhong as General of Hussars, and Zhang Rang and others jointly presided over the affairs of the court. Seeing that Empress Dowager Dong was monopolizing power, Empress Dowager he held a banquet in the palace and invited Empress Dowager Dong to attend. When the wine was half drunk, Queen Mother he stood up, held the cup and bowed again, saying, "We are all women, and it is not appropriate for us to participate in government affairs." In the past, Queen Lu held great power. Thousands of members of the clan were slaughtered. Now it is appropriate for us to live in the 9th level. The ministers and elders can discuss the important matters of the court on their own, which is a blessing for this country. I would like to hear you. Empress Dong was furious and said, "You have killed the king's beauty because you are jealous. Now I rely on you to be your king. How can I advance with your brother? You dare to talk nonsense. I command my hussar to cut off your brother's head, just like the palm of my hand." He Ho also said angrily, "I persuaded you with good words, why should I be angry?" Empress Dong said, "What kind of knowledge does this junior Tugu of your family have?" The two palaces competed with each other, and Zhang Rang and others persuaded each other to return to the palace. He Ho summoned he into the palace overnight to tell him about the past. Where to go in and out. Call the three public to discuss. The court was set up early in the morning, and the court officials reported that Empress Dowager Dong was originally a vassal concubine and was not suitable to stay in the palace for a long time. He still moved to the river to settle down, and left the country at the end of the day. On the one hand, he sent people to escort Empress Dong. On the other hand, he ordered the imperial army to surround the residence of Hussar General Dong Chong and pursue the seal and ribbon. Governor Dong Chong was in a hurry and committed suicide in the back hall. The family mourned and the soldiers dispersed. Zhang Rang and Duan Gui saw that one of Empress Dong's branches was dead. So they all used gold beads to play with the structure, and He Jin's brother He Miao and his mother Wu Yangjun were ordered to go to the Empress Dowager He's house in the morning and evening, and they were covered with good words. Therefore, the 10 constant attendants were lucky enough to be close to each other. In the 6th month, He Jin secretly ordered someone to kill Empress Dong in the Hejian Post courtyard, and carried the coffin back to the capital. Buried in Wenling. I can't get out of the hospital because I'm sick. Yuan Shao, the captain of the silly school, came to see Jin and said, "Zhang Rang, Duan Gui and others have spread rumors that the emperor wants to kill Empress Dong and wants to do something big. If we don't kill the eunuch at this time, it will be a big disaster in the future." In the past, Do Wu wanted to do something great. If you kill someone inside, your plans are not secret. Instead, suffer the consequences. Today, my brothers, generals, and officials are all handsome men. If you try your best, you will have everything under control. This time of praise cannot be lost. Jin said, "Let's discuss it." Secret reports were sent to Zhang Rang, who told He Miao and sent more bribes. Miao entered the memorial and He Hoyun said, "The general assists the new king, but he is not merciful and specializes in killing. Now he wants to kill 10 regular servants without any reason. This is the way to create chaos." Ho accepted his words. After a while, he entered the White Queen and wanted to kill Zhongguan. He said, "The Zhongguan commanded the Forbidden Provinces, a story of the Han family. The late emperor abandoned the world. If you want to kill the old ministers, you can't do it again. I was originally a person who had not made a decision. After hearing the words of the Queen Mother, I came out." Yuan Shao asked, "What's the big deal?" Jean said, "The Queen Mother doesn't agree." "What can I do?" Shao said, "We can call heroes from all over the country, draw troops to the capital, and kill all the eunuchs." The matter was urgent at this time and the Queen Mother could not tolerate disobedience. Jean said, "This is a great plan." Today, the general relies on the emperor's power, holds the key points of the army, moves the dragon and the tiger, and has high and low in mind. If he wants to kill the eunuch, it will be like a drum and a roaring furnace burning the hair and ears. But when you get angry quickly and act decisively, heaven and man will obey. However, he rebelled against the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and when he was about to invade the capital, the heroes gathered together, each with the same intention. The so-called fighting against others and giving others a handle will not succeed and will lead to chaos. Jean laughed and said, "What a coward." One person clapped his hands and laughed and said, "This matter is so easy, why bother discussing it? Look at it, it's Cao Cao. It's exactly. He wants to eliminate the chaos on the side of the emperor." You must listen to the advice of the wise men in the court. I don't know what Cao Cao said, but let me break it down below. The third chapter discussed the Wenming dynasty. Dong Zhuo scolded Ding Yuan, presented gold beads, and Li Su said to Lu Bu. Let's say that Cao Cao said to He Jin that day, "The disaster of eunuchs. It has existed in ancient and modern times, but the Lord of the world should not allow false power and favor to lead to this. If you want to punish a crime, you should eliminate the original evil." Mengda also has selfish motives. Chao retreated and said, "Those who disrupt the world will surely advance." Jin Nai secretly sent a mission and went to various towns at night with secret edicts. But he said that Dong Zhuo, the former general, the Marquis of Aoxiang, and the governor of Xiliang, had tried to break the yellow turban but failed, and the court would discuss his crime. He was spared because of bribing 10 regular servants. Later he became entrusted with court nobles, so he was appointed as a prominent official and commanded an army of 200,000 people in Shizhou. He always had a disobedient heart. At this time, he was overjoyed to receive the imperial edict. He ordered his troops and horses to go out one after another. He asked his son-in-law, the Lieutenant General Niu, to assist him. He guarded Shangxi, but he took Li Ju and others with him. Guosi, Zhang Ji, Fan Chou and others raised their troops to march towards Luoyang. I have heard that the chaos and rebellion in the world continues because Zhang Rang, a regular servant of Huang Men, and others are insulting Tianchang. I heard that yang decoction is better to stop the boil than to remove the sputum. Although ulcers are painful, it is worse than nourishing the poison. I dare to ring the bells and drums to enter Luoyang. Please give way. Sheiji is very lucky. The world is so lucky. He Jin got the watch and showed it to the ministers. Zheng Tai, the imperial censor, admonished, Dong Zhuo is a jackal. If he is introduced to the capital, he will eat people. Jin said, "You are suspicious and cannot plan for big things." Lu Ji also admonished. Ji Su knew that Dong Zhuo was a man with a kind face and a cruel heart. Once you enter the forbidden court, there will be disaster. It's better to stop and don't come, so as not to cause chaos. Jean refused to listen, and both Zheng Tai and Lu Ji abandoned their posts and left. Most of the ministers of the imperial court left. Jean sent people to greet Dong Zhuo in Mianxi, but Zhuo held his troops and did not move. Zhang Rang and others learned that the foreign troops had arrived, and they discussed together. What's the point of this plan? If we don't strike first, we will all be exterminated. The Queen Mother said, "You can go to the general's mansion to apologize." Rang said, "If you go to the Prime Minister's mansion, your bones and flesh will be crumbled to powder. I hope the Queen Mother will issue an order to stop the general coming to the palace. If he does not comply, I will only go to the Queen Mother to ask for death." The Queen Mother issued an edict to announce it. As long as you get the imperial edict, that's all. Chen Lin, the chief registrar, admonished, "The Queen Mother's edict must be the plan of the 10 regular servants. You must not go. There will be disaster if you go." Jean said, "What harm does the Queen Mother order me to do?" Yuan Shao said, "Now the plan is over. Come on, the matter has been exposed. Does the general still want to enter the palace?" Cao Cao said, "First call the 10 constant servants out. Then you can enter." Jean smiled and said, "This is just a child's opinion. I hold the power of the world, how dare I treat you?" Shao said, "My lord must be leaving, and we will recruit some soldiers to protect him in case of any unexpected events." So Yuan Shao and Cao Cao each selected 500 elite soldiers and ordered Yuan Shao's younger brother Yuan Shu to lead them. Yuan Shu was fully clothed and led his troops outside Qingsuo Gate. Xiao Yucao escorted He Jin to Changle Palace with swords. Huang Menchuani's decree said, "The Queen Mother has specially announced that the general will not allow others to enter." Yuan Shao, Cao Cao, and others were blocked outside the palace gate. He Jin went straight in. When they arrived at the gate of Jiada Hall, Zhang Rang and Duan Gui came out to greet him, and surrounded him from left to right. Jin was shocked. Rang sternly scolded Jin and said, "What crime did Empress Dong commit in committing suicide? The mother of the country was buried at the funeral, and she couldn't excuse her illness. You, the younger generation of Tugu, have been recommended by us as the emperor, so that you can be honored and honored. Without thinking of retribution and wanting to harm each other, you say that we are very dirty. Who is the clear one?" He entered in a hurry and wanted to find a way out. The palace doors were closed, and everyone came out with their armors in full force. They cut He Jin into 2 pieces. Later generations wrote a poem and sighed. If you fail to listen to the advice of your loyal ministers several times, you will inevitably be exposed to the sword in the palace. After letting the others kill He Jin, Yuan Shao did not see him coming in or out for a long time, so he shouted outside the palace gate, "General, please get in." Already executed. All the rest of the coercion will be forgiven. Yuan Shao shouted loudly, "The eunuch murdered the minister. The evil party slayers come to help." He Jin's general Wu Kuang set a fire outside the Qingsuo Gate. Yuan Shu, "Kill them all." Yuan Shao and Cao Cao cut through the pass and entered. Zhao Zhong, Qing Kuang, Xia Yun, and Guosheng were driven to Tsuihua Tower and chopped into pieces. The palace was filled with flames. Zhang Rang, Duan Gui, Chao Jia and Ho Lan sent the Queen Mother and Prince Chenlu to introspection. Take the back road to the North Palace. At that time, Lu Ji had abandoned his official position but had not left. When he saw what was going on in the palace, he stood in front of you with his armor and a gun in hand. Seeing Duan Gui approaching from a distance, Ji shouted, "Duan Gui is a traitor, how dare you rob the Queen Mother?" Duan Gui turned around and left. The Queen Mother jumped out of the window. Plant first aid is exempted. Wu Kuang entered the inner court and saw He Miao coming out with his sword. Kuang shouted, "If Miao conspired to kill my brother, we should kill him together." Everyone said, "I am willing to kill the thieves who plotted against my brother." Miao wanted to leave and surrounded him on all sides. Cut into powder. Xiaofu ordered his sergeants to separate and kill the families of the 10 constant servants, regardless of their size, and kill them all. Many of the beards were killed by mistake. It is also said that Zhang Rang and Duan Gui supported the young emperor and King Qianlu, and ran all night to Beimang Mountain with smoke and fire. At about the second watch, so he threw himself into the river and died. The emperor and King Qianlu didn't know the truth, so they didn't dare to raise their voices, so they hid in the grass by the river. The troops and horses scattered in all directions to catch up, not knowing where the emperor was. The emperor and the king lay down until the 4th watch, when the dew came down again. They were hungry and exhausted, so they pressed against each other and cried. They were also afraid of being noticed. Swallowing in the grass. King Qianlu said, "You can't fall in love here for a long time, you must find a way to survive." So the two tied up in clothes and climbed to the shore. Only flying in front of the emperor. King Qianlu said, "Heaven is helping my brother." Then he followed the fireflies and gradually saw the road. At the 5th watch, my feet hurt and I couldn't walk. I saw a haystack on the edge of the hill, and the emperor and the king were lying beside the haystack. In front of the haystack is a farmhouse. The owner of the village had a dream at night that 2 red suns were falling behind the village. He was startled and woke up. He put on his clothes and went out. King Qianlu pointed to the emperor and said, "This is the current emperor. He was attacked by Shi Changshe and fled here. I am the emperor's younger brother, King Qianlu." The owner of the village was shocked, and he bowed again and said, "I will pay homage to Situ Chui Lai first." His younger brother Chui Yi also hid here because he saw Shi Chang serving as an official and jealous of talents. Then he helped the emperor into the manor, where he knelt down to drink and eat. But it was said that Min Gong caught up with Duan Gui, grabbed him and asked, "Where is the emperor?" Gui said, "We were lost halfway, and we don't know where we are going." Gong then killed Duan Gui, hung his head under his horse's neck, and divided his troops to search for him, but he was riding alone. Following the road to pursue, I came to Chui Yizhuang by chance. I saw the head of the emperor. When I asked him about it, he gave a detailed description of the tribute. Chui Yi introduced the tribute to the emperor, and the emperor and his ministers wept bitterly. Gong and King Qianlu rode on the same horse. Less than 3 miles away from the village, Situ Wang Yun, Tai Lieutenant Yang Biao, Left Military Colonel Qin Yuqiong, Right Military Colonel Zhao Meng, Home Military Academy Lieutenant Bao Xian, and Middle Military Colonel Yuan Shao were all accompanied by hundreds of people. Then drive. The king and his ministers all cried. First, he sent someone to take Duan Gui's head to the capital to give orders, and then changed his horse to ride with the emperor and King Qianlu, and then returned to the capital with the emperor. First, There is a Luoyang child's ballad that says, "The emperor is not an emperor, the king is not a king, and thousands of horses are riding in Beimang." So far, the prediction has been fulfilled. After driving for less than a few miles, I suddenly saw flags covering the sun, dust covering the sky, and a group of people and horses arriving. All the officials were pale, and the emperor was shocked. Yuan Shao suddenly rushed out. King Qianlu reined up his horse and stepped forward, shouting, "Who is coming?" Zhua said, "Dong Zhua, the governor of Shiliang." King Qianlu said, "You are here to protect me, and you are here to rob me?" Zhua Ying said, "I'm here to protect you." King Qianlu said, "Since I'm here to protect you, the emperor is here, why don't you dismount?" Zhua was shocked. He hurriedly dismounted and bowed to the left side of the road. King Qianlu comforted Dong Zhua with words, and from the beginning to the end, he was not speechless. Zhua Enkizi already has the intention of abolishing the establishment. When I returned to the palace that day, when I saw Queen Mother everyone wept bitterly. Checking the palace, the jade seal passed down to the country was missing. Outside Dong Zhua's garrison city, he brought armored horse troops into the city every day and marched through the streets, making the people panic. Zhua went in and out of the palace without any scruples. Later, Bao Xian, the captain of the military academy, came to see Yuan Shao and told him that Dong Zhuo must have different intentions and that they could be eliminated quickly. Shao said, "The imperial court has made a new decision. Can't move lightly." Bao Xian met Wang Yun and told him what happened. Yun said, "Let's discuss it." The letter led his troops to surrender to Mount Tai. Dong Zhuo lured He Jin's brothers and all the soldiers under his control. He privately said to Li Ru, "I want to depose the emperor and establish King Qianlu, what should I do?" Li Ru said, "There is no master in the court now. If we don't act now, things will change later. In the coming day, we will summon all the officials in the Wenming Garden and order them to abolish the establishment. If anyone does not follow, he will be beheaded. This will be an act of authority. Today." Zhuo Shi. The next day there was a big banquet, and all the ministers were invited. All the ministers were afraid of Dong Zhuo, and no one dared to fail. Zhuo waited for the officials to arrive, then slowly dismounted at the garden gate, took his sword and went to the table. "You cannot worship the ancestral temple or the state without dignity. I am weak now, and I am not as smart and studious as King Qianlu, who can take over the throne. I want to depose the emperor and establish King Qianlu. What do the ministers think?" After all the officials heard this, they did not dare to say anything. A person at the table came forward with the case. Standing in front of the banquet, he shouted, "No! No! Who are you, who dares to speak loudly? The emperor is the direct son of the late emperor. He has no fault in the beginning, so why should he arbitrarily talk about abolishing the establishment?" Then he took his sword and wanted to kill Ding Yuan. At that time, Li Ru saw a person behind Ding Yuan, who had a majestic appearance, holding a Fengtian painted halberd in his hand, and glared at him angrily. Everyone advised Ding Yuan to mount his horse and leave. Zhuo asked the officials, "Is what I said fair?" Lu Ji said, "Ming Gongcha is here." In the past, when Taijia was unknown, Yi Yin released him to Tong Palace. King Chang'e ascended the throne on the 27th day, committed more than 3,000 evil acts. Therefore, Huoguang sued the imperial ancestral temple and abolished it. Although I am young, I am smart, kind and wise without any faults. The Duke is the governor of a foreign county and has never participated in state affairs. He does not have the talents of Yi and Hua, so how can he forcefully take charge of abolishing the establishment? The sage said, if you have Yi Yin's ambition, you can. Without Yi Yin's ambition, it is usurpation. Zhuo was furious and drew his sword and moved forward to kill Ji. Discuss another day. So all the officials dispersed. Zhuo stood at the garden gate holding his sword. Suddenly he saw a man leaping on a horse and holding a halberd, galloping back and forth outside the garden gate. Zhuo asked Li Ru, "Who is this?" "Lord, you must avoid him." Zhuo went into the garden to hide. The next day, people reported that Ding Yuan had led his army to fight outside the city. Riding his horse and raising his halberd, he followed Ding Jianyang out to the front of the formation. Jianyang pointed at Zhuo and scolded him. The country is unlucky and the eunuchs have seized power, causing the people to suffer. You have no merit, so how dare you talk about abolishing the establishment and want to disrupt the court? Before Dong Zhuo could reply, Lu Bu flew towards him on horse. Dong Zhuo fled in panic, and Jianyang led his army to cover up the killing. Zhuo Bing was defeated and retreated more than 30 miles to the stronghold to gather people to discuss. Zhuo said, "I think Lu Bu is a very good man. If I could get this person, why should I worry about the world?" A man in front of the tent came out and said, "My lord, don't worry. I live in the same hometown as Lu Bu. I know that he is brave but has no plan, and forgets his righteousness when he sees profit. Is it okay for someone to say that Lu Bu surrendered with his sharp tongue?" Zhuo was overjoyed and saw that he was Li Sui, the brave general in the middle of the army. Zhuo said, "How can you tell me this?" Su said, "I heard that my lord has a famous horse. His name is Red Rabbit, and he travels thousands of miles in a day. You must get this horse and use gold beads to tie its heart. If someone goes further, Lu Bu will turn against Ding Yuan and join the lord." Zhuo asked Li Ru, "Is this acceptable?" Confucian said, "My lord wants to conquer the world, so why not waste a horse? It also comes with 1,000 taels of gold, dozens of pearls, and a jade belt." Li Su gave the gift and went to Lu Bu's stronghold. Soldiers surrounded the road. Su said, "You can report to General Lu quickly that an old friend is coming to see you." The soldiers reported the news and ordered them to come to see him. Su Jianbu said, "Dear brother, stay well." Bu Yi said, "We haven't seen each other for a long time. Where are you staying now?" Su said, "The current position is Tiger and Lieutenant General. I am overjoyed to hear that my virtuous brother is helping the country. There is a good horse that can travel thousands of miles a day, cross water, specially dedicated to my virtuous brother to help the tiger's power." Bu Bian ordered him to be led over to have a look. Sure enough, the horse was as red as coals from head to toe, without a single hair. It was 1 foot long from head to tail, and 8 feet high from hoof to neck. It screamed and roared, and looked like it was flying into the sea. Later generations wrote a poem about a red rabbit and a horse on a single road. Galloping for thousands of miles, the dust is blown away, and the purple mist opens when crossing water and climbing mountains. Breaking the silk reins and shaking the jade bridle, the fire dragon flew down to the 9 heavens. When Bu saw the horse, he was overjoyed. Someone comes out of loyalty. don't expect retribution. We arranged wine to treat each other. The wine was sweet, and Su said, Su and my virtuous brother rarely see each other, but your father often comes. Bu was frightened and said, someone in Ding Jianyang's place also had no choice. Su said, my virtuous brother has the talent to hold up the sky and sail the sea. Who doesn't admire him in the world? Fame and wealth are like picking things out of a bag. How can you be helpless and inferior to others? Bu said, I hate that I can't meet his master's ears. Su smiled and said, a good bird chooses a tree to roost in, and a wise minister chooses his master to serve. It's too late to regret an opportunity. Bu said, brother, in the court, who do you think is the hero of the world? Someone wants to follow it, but hates that there is no way. Su took the gold beads and jade belts and laid them out in front of Bu. Bu was shocked and said, why is this? Su ordered the people around him to retreat and announced, this is Dong Gong's great name for a long time. How can a general repay Dong Gong when he sees his love in this way? Su said, if a certain person is not talented, he can still be a tiger and a brave general. If you go to that place, you will be valued beyond words. Bu said, I hate that there is no merit in trickling AI, and I think it is a courtesy to come to see him. Su said, the power lies in the flip of a hand, but I don't want to listen. Bu pondered for a long time and said, I want to kill Ding Yuan and lead the army back to Dongjua, what better? Su said, if my dear brother can do this, it will be a great achievement. But it is not advisable to delay the matter, it is necessary to make a quick decision. Bu made an appointment with Su. Budi's knife went straight into Ding Yuan's account. Yuan Zheng was holding a candle while reading a book when he saw Bu arrive and asked, what happened to my son? Bu said, my dear husband, I am willing to be your son. Yuan said, why did Fengxian change his mind? Bu Xiang said. In front of him, he cut off Ding Yuan's head with a knife and shouted to the left and right. Ding Yuan was unkind and I have killed him. Those who are willing to follow me are here, and those who don't will go away. Most of the soldiers dispersed. The next day, Bu took Ding Yuan's head and went to see Li Su. Su then introduced Bu to Zhua. Zhua was overjoyed and treated him to wine. Just like a drought-stricken seedling receiving sweet rain. Bunazuo sat down and worshipped him and said, if you don't give up, would like to worship you as my adoptive father. Zhua gave him cloth with gold armor and brocade robes, drank freely, and left. Zhua became more powerful and took charge of the army. He named his younger brother Dong Min the general of the left and the Marquis of Hu. Lu Bu was granted the title of cavalry captain, Zhonglang general, and Dudinghao. Li Ru advised Zhua to make plans to abolish Li as soon as possible. Zhuanai held a banquet in the province, gathered the officials, and ordered Lu Bu to send more than 1,000 soldiers to guard him. Zhua pressed his sword and said, today the emperor is weak and cannot worship the ancestral temple. I will follow the stories of Yi Yin and He Guang to depose the emperor as King Hongnong and establish King Chen Lu as emperor. Anyone who refuses to follow will be killed. The ministers were frightened and no one dared to do so. Right. Yuan Shao, the lieutenant of the Central Military Academy, stepped forward and said, I have only ascended the throne not long ago. There is no loss of virtue. If you want to abolish the direct descendants and establish concubines, what is the opposite? Zhua said angrily, the world's affairs are mine. What I am doing now, who dares not to obey? Do you think my sword is harmful? Yuan Shao also drew his sword and said, Your sword is sharp, but my sword is not bad at all. Two enemies faced each other at a banquet. It was Ding Yuan died first due to his righteousness, and Yuan Shao was in danger of competing for the lead. What is Yuan Shao's life after all? Let's listen to the explanation below. Chapter 4, Emperor Chen Lujian of the Han Dynasty was dethroned, and Meng De, the thief of Dong, offered his sword. Let's talk about Dong Zhuo's intention to kill Yuan Shao. Li Ruji said, The matter is uncertain, so don't kill rashly. Yuan Shao took the sword in his hand, said goodbye to all the officials and went out, hung at the east gate of the festival, and ran to Jizhou. Zhuo said to Grand Tutor Yuan Wei, Your nephew is rude. I look at you and forgive him. What about abolishing the establishment? Wei said. That's what the Tai Wei saw. Zhuo said, Anyone who dares to obstruct the big discussion will be dealt with according to military law. The ministers were frightened, and they all agreed to obey your orders. After the banquet, Zhuo asked Zhou Ao, the servant, and Wu Qiong, the captain of the school, How is Yuan Shao going? Zhou Yao said, Yuan Shao left angrily because he was in a hurry to buy it. It is bound to change. Moreover, the Yuan family had Shun for 4 generations, and his disciples and former officials were all over the world. Yuan Shao is very resourceful and has no worries, so it is better to add a county guard to win the hearts of the people. Zhuo Congji immediately sent someone to worship him as the governor of Bohai. On the first day of September, he asked the emperor to ascend to the Jiada Hall and hold a civil and military conference. Zhuo drew his sword in his hand and said to everyone, The emperor is weak. Not enough to rule the world. Now there is a policy article, which should be read out. He ordered Li Ru to read the policy and said, Emperor Shaoling abandoned his subjects early. The emperor inherited the throne and looked inside the sea. However, the emperor was frivolous in nature, did not abide by his majesty, and lived in mourning. He was lazy and unworthy of his great virtue. The Empress Dowager taught no maternal etiquette, and her government was in chaos. The Empress Dowager Yongle collapsed suddenly, and everyone was confused. Are there gaps in the 3 cardinal principles and the order of heaven and earth? Chen Lu Wangxia was a man of sage virtue and awe-inspiring conduct. When he was in mourning, he did not speak evil words. He had a good reputation and was heard all over the world. It is appropriate to inherit Hongya and be the leader for all generations. I hereby depose the emperor as King Hongnong, and the Empress Dowager returns to power. Please appoint King Chenlu as the emperor, in order to obey the will of heaven and the people, and to comfort the hope of living beings. After Li Ru finished reading the policy, Zhuo scolded the emperor and helped him go down to the palace, untied his seal and ribbon, and knelt down to the north. Be obedient and obey orders. He also called the Queen Mother to serve the imperial edict. The emperor and the queen all cried, and all the ministers were miserable. The minister at the next level yelled angrily, The traitor Dong Zhuo dares to make a conspiracy to deceive the heavens. I will splash blood on my neck. The drinking warrior took it. It was Shangshu Dingguanya. Zhuo Ming took him out and beheaded him. He kept scolding him, but his expression remained unchanged until death. Later generations had a poem that lamented. The traitor Dong Qian abandoned his plan and established the Han family clan committee in Qiushu. Only Ding Gong is the husband. Zhuo invited King Chenlu to the palace. After the ministers came to congratulate each other, Zhuo ordered the Empress Dowager He, King Hongnong and the imperial concubine Tang's Yong'an palace to stay at leisure. The gates of the palace were sealed to prevent the ministers from entering without permission. Poor young emperor ascended the throne in April. It will be abolished in September. Zhuoli established Wang Xia of Chenlu, whose pseudonym was Bo. He was the middle son of Emperor Ling, that is, Emperor Xian. He was 9 years old at the time. Changed to Chuping of Yuan dynasty. Dong Zhuo was the prime minister of the country. He was praised and worshipped without fame, and he was not followed when he entered the court. He went to the palace with swords and shoes, and he was extremely powerful. Li Ru advised Zhuo to recruit celebrities. In order to attract people's attention, he recommended Kai Yong's talents. Zhuo ordered him to conquer, but Yong refused to go. Zhuo was angry and sent someone to tell Yong, "If you don't come, your clan will be destroyed." Yong was afraid, so he had to come as ordered. Zhuo was overjoyed to see Yong. But he said that the young emperor, the queen mother He and the Tang dynasty were trapped in Yong'an palace, and their food and clothing were gradually in short supply. The young emperor never shed tears. One day, I saw 2 swallows flying in the courtyard, so I recited a poem. The poem says, "The tender grass is green and the smoke is condensed, and the 2 flying swallows are curling up. Luoshui is green, and people on the road admire it. Looking far into the distance, deep into the blue clouds, is my old palace. Who is so loyal and righteous that he can vent the resentment in my heart?" Dong Zhuo often asked people to spy on him. I got this poem today and presented it to Dong Zhuo. Then Li Ru was ordered to lead 10 warriors into the palace to kill the emperor. The emperor, the queen, and the concubine were upstairs. The maid reported that Li Ru had arrived, and the emperor was shocked. Confucianism served the emperor with poisonous wine, and the emperor asked why. Confucianism said, "The spring is harmonious," and Confucianism said angrily, "You don't want to drink?" He called to the left and right, holding short swords and practicing in front of them, and said, "If you don't drink longevity wine, you can get these 2 things." The Tang concubine knelt down and said, "I drink on behalf of the emperor, and I wish to be saved by the public. The lives of mother and child." The Confucian scholar said, "Who are you to die on behalf of the king?" He raised the wine to the queen mother and said, "Can you drink first?" Later, he scolded He Jin for his lack of plans and led thieves into the capital, which caused today's disaster. Confucianism urged the emperor to force him, and the emperor said, "Allow me to say goodbye to the queen mother." He was in great mourning and composed a song, and his song said, "The sky and the earth have changed, the sun and the moon have turned over, and I have abandoned 10,000 vehicles and retreated to the feudal lord. The minister is forced to die soon, and the situation is over, so I can't help but shed tears." The Tang concubine also composed a song saying, "The emperor and heaven are about to collapse, and then the earth will fall. As the emperor's concubine, she will not follow her destiny. Life and death are different paths from now on, but it is so fast, so sad in my heart." After singing, we hugged each other and cried. Li Ru scolded, "The prime minister is waiting for a reward. You are waiting for Oyen. Who can save you?" The young emperor was killed by pouring poisonous wine with him. I also reported to Dong Zhuo, who was buried outside the city. From then on, he entered the palace every night, raped the maid, and slept on the dragon bed. He tried to lead the army out of the city and marched to Yangcheng. In February, the villagers gathered for a social competition, and both men and women gathered. Sergeant Zhuo Ming surrounded him. They killed them all, plundered the women's property, loaded them on the cart, and hung more than 1,000 heads under the cart. Even Jin returned to the capital, threatening to kill the thieves and return in victory. They burned the heads outside the city gate and dispersed the army with the women's property. Wu Fu, the captain of the Yu cavalry school, whose courtesy name was De Yu, saw Zhuo being cruel. He was resentful, so he wore a small armor and hid a short sword under his court uniform, and killed Zhuo if he wanted to wait for him. One day, when Zhuo entered the court, Fu greeted Yu and drew his sword to stab Zhuo. Zhuo was very powerful and grabbed Wu Fu with both hands. Lu Bu then stepped in and grabbed Wu Fu. Zhuo asked, "Who taught you to rebel?" Fu stared and shouted, "You are not my king, and I am not your subject, so why should I do the opposite? Your sins fill the heavens, and everyone is willing to find and punish you. I hate to tear you apart to thank the world." Wu Fu, a loyal minister in the late Han dynasty, said that he was so heroic that there was no one in the world. The reputation of killing thieves in the court is still there, and he will be called a man forever. From then on, Dong Zhuo always had soldiers to protect him when he came in and out. When Yuan Shao was in Bohai, he heard that Dong Zhuo was wielding power. So he sent someone to see Wang Yun with a secret letter. The book says, "The traitor deceives the heaven and deposes the master, and people cannot bear to say anything, but the duke is domineering. If he doesn't listen, how can he serve the country as a loyal minister? When taking advantage of it, if you are prompted, you should obey the order." Wang Yun got the book and was at a loss for ideas. One day, I saw all the old ministers in the waiting room's pavilion, and Yun said, "Today, I will humbly surrender. In the evening, I dare to bow down and come to the house to have a drink." All the officials said, "I will definitely come to wish you a birthday." That night Wang Yun held a banquet in the back hall, and all the officials arrived. Dong Zhuo bullies the master and seizes power, and the country is difficult to protect. I think that Emperor Gao killed Qin and destroyed Chu, and he was on the verge of conquering the world. Whoever wants to pass it on to this day will lose his life at the hands of Dong Zhuo. This is why I cry. Then all the officials cried. One of the people sitting there put his palms in his hands and laughed loudly and said, "Young minister of the Manchu dynasty, if you cry at night until dawn, and at dawn until night, can you still cry to death for Dong Zhuo?" Yun looked at it and saw that it was Cao Cao, the heroic cavalry captain. Yun said angrily, "Your ancestors also lived in the Han dynasty, but now you don't want to serve the country and instead laugh?" Cao said, "I'm not laughing at anything else. Although Cao Cao is not talented, I would like to cut off Dong Zhuo's head immediately and hang it on the capital gate to thank the world." Yun avoided the banquet and asked, "What is Mengda's advice?" Cao said, "Those who have been stooping to do outstanding things recently really want to take advantage of Jiantu's ears. Today Zhuo has great faith in Cao, and Cao is close to Zhuo because of the right time. I heard that Situ had a 7-treasure sword, and I was willing to use it to enter the Prime Minister's mansion to assassinate him. Even if he died, would not hate him." He stood up and said goodbye to all the officials and left. All the officials sat for another time and then all dispersed. The next day, Cao Cao, wearing a sword, came to the Prime Minister's mansion and asked, "Where is the Prime Minister?" A follower said, "In the small pavilion." Chow Chow walked in. Seeing Dong Zhuo sitting on the bed, Lu Bu stood beside him. Zhuo said, "How late is Mingda coming?" Chow Chow said, "Ma Lei walks late." Zhuo Gu said to Bu, "I have a good horse from Shiliang. I would like to go and pick one and give it to Mengda." Zhuo Pengda couldn't bear to sit for a long time, so he fell down and turned to face inward. Chow Chow thought again and said, "This thief should be put to rest." He quickly grabbed the sword in his hand, just in time to stab him. Dong Zhuo looked up in the mirror and saw Chow Chow drawing the sword from behind. He turned around and asked, "What's Mengda doing?" At that time, Lu Bu had already led his horse outside the pavilion. Chow Chow was frightened, so he knelt down with his sword and said, "Chow has a precious sword, and I would like to express my kindness to you." Zhuo then looked at it and saw that the sword was more than a foot long, inlaid with 7 treasures, extremely sharp, and a treasure sword, so he handed it to Lu Bu to collect. Undo the sheath and cloth. Zhuo led Chow out of the pavilion to look at the horses. Chow thanked him and said, "I would like to lend you a horse and try riding." Zhuo asked for advice on saddles and bridles. Chow led the horse out of the Prime Minister's mansion, whipped up his whip and looked toward the southeast. While he was talking, Li Ru arrived and Zhuo told him what he had done. That is to say, 4 jailers were sent to summon Chow. After leaving for a long time, he reported back. Chow did not return to his apartment. He rode out of the east gate on horseback. When the gatekeeper asked, Chow said, "The Prime Minister sent me on urgent business," and he rode away. Zhuo was furious and said, "I have been so important to you, but you want to harm me." Confucianism said, "There must be an accomplice here, and we will find out when we capture Chow Chow." Zhuo then ordered all the documents and drawings to capture Chow Chow. Capture those who donate will be rewarded with thousands of gold, and will be granted the title of Marquis of 10,000 households. Those who harbor will be punished with the same crime. Let us say that Chow Chow escaped from the city and rushed to Chiao County. Passing through Zhongmu County, he was captured by the guarding sergeant and captured by the county magistrate. "I once recognized you as Chow Chow, how could you hide it?" He will be put in prison and sent to the capital tomorrow to ask for a reward. The sergeant at the gate was given wine and food and left. At night, the county magistrate called for his followers to take Chow Chow out secretly and went to the backyard for interrogation. He asked, "I heard that the Prime Minister treats you well. Why do you bring disaster upon yourself?" Chow Chow said, "How can a sparrow know the ambition of a swan? Now that you have caught me, you can untie me and ask for your reward. Why ask more?" The county magistrate retreated to the left and right sides and said to Chow, "Don't underestimate me. I am not a common official, but I have never met his master." Chow Chow said, "My ancestors have lived in Han Dynasty for generations. If they don't think about serving the country, how are they any different from animals? I have bent my body to serve outstanding people, and I want to take advantage of the opportunity to eliminate harm for the country. It is God's will that things cannot be done now." The county magistrate. He asked, "Where will Mengda go on this trip?" Chow Chow said, "I will return to my hometown and issue an imperial edict. Summon all the princes in the world to raise troops to kill Dong Zhuo. This is my wish." When the county magistrate heard this, he personally released his bindings, helped him sit up, and bowed again, saying, you are truly the most loyal and righteous person in the world." Chow Chow also paid his respects and asked the county magistrate his name. The magistrate said, "My surname is Chen, my given name is Gong, and my courtesy name is Gong Tai." Mother and wife. They are all in Dongjun. Now that I feel loyal to the public, I am willing to give up an official position and run away from the public. Chow Chow was very happy. Chow pointed his whip at the depths of the forest and said to the palace, "There is a man here named Lu and Bosch, who is my father's sworn brother. So I went to ask for news at home and find a place to stay. How about it?" Gong said, "The best." When people arrived at the village, they dismounted and went in to see Bosch. She said, "I heard that the imperial court issued documents all over the place. I'm very anxious to capture you. Your father has already avoided Chen Lu. How did you get here?" Chow Chow told about the past and said, "If it weren't for County Magistrate Chen, my bones would have been shattered into pieces." Bosch paid homage to Chen Gong and said, "If my nephew had not envoyed the emperor, the Chow family would have been destroyed. May you sit in peace and comfort. You can stay in the thatched cottage tonight." After saying that, he stood up and went inside. After a long time, he came out and said to Chen Gong, "I don't have good wine at home. How about I go to the West Village and buy a bottle for you?" After saying that, he hurriedly got on the donkey and left. Chow Chow said, "Lu Bosch is not a close relative of mine. He is here suspiciously and should be eavesdropped." After the two sneaked into the thatched cottage, they heard someone saying, "What if I tie him up and kill him?" Chow Chow said, "That's right. If you don't strike first, you will be captured." Then he drew his sword and went straight in, killing both men and women. Killed 8 people in a row. After searching the kitchen, he found a pig bound and about to be killed. Gong said, "Mengda was too careless and accidentally killed a good man." He hurriedly left the village and mounted his horse. Less than 2 miles away, I saw Bosch coming with 2 bottles of wine hanging in front of his donkey's saddle, carrying fruits and vegetables, and called out, "Why did the wise nephew and the envoy go so far?" Chow Chow said, "Those who have been convicted do not dare to stay for a long time." Bosch said, "I have paid my family to kill a pig." He called Bosch and said, "Who is here?" When Bosch looked back, Chow swung his sword and chopped Bosch under the donkey. Gongda was shocked and said, "I just made a mistake. What should I do now?" Chow Chow said, "Bosch came home and saw many people killed. How can he rest peacefully? If he leads the crowd to chase him, he will be in trouble." Gong said, "Killing someone knowingly is a great injustice." Chow Chow said, "I would rather teach me to betray the people of the world than teach the people of the world to betray me." Chen Gong was silent. I would say that Chow Chow is a good man and abandon his official position to follow him. It turns out that he is a wolf-hearted man. If you keep it today, it will cause trouble in the future. Then he wanted to draw his sword to kill Chow Chow. It is exactly. He is a vicious and evil man, but Chow Zhua is a member of the same group. After all, what is Chow Chow's life? Let's hear the breakdown below. The 5th chapter issued an edict to all towns to respond to Chow Gong's defeat of the pass and the 3 heroes to fight with Lu Bu. He inserted his sword and mounted his horse, and before dawn, he surrendered to Dongjun. When Chow felt that he didn't see Chen Gong, he thought, "This man saw me saying these 2 sentences and suspected me of being unkind, so he abandoned me. I must leave in a hurry and cannot stay for a long time. If you want to disperse family wealth, recruit volunteers. My father said, if you have few resources, you may not be able to accomplish anything. Here is Wei Hong, a filial and honest man who spares money and is righteous. His family is very rich. If we can get help, things can go well. A banquet was held, and Wei Hong was invited home and said, now the Han dynasty has no owner, and Dong Zhuo has exclusive power. If you deceive the emperor and harm the people, the world will gnash its teeth. Chao wants to support the country with all his strength, but hates the lack of strength. You are a loyal man, dare to ask for help. Wei Hong said, I have been thinking about this for a long time, and I regret that I have never met a hero. Since Mengda has great ambitions, he is willing to help with his family's financial resources. Report to each road, then recruit volunteers, put up a white flag for recruitment, and write the word loyalty. In a few days, the people who applied for the job gathered like rain. One day, a man from the Yangping Wei kingdom named Lu Jin and Wenxian came to vote for Cao Cao. Another man from Julu, Shanyang, whose surname was Li, given name Dian, and courtesy name Mancheng, also came to join Cao Cao. Cao Cao was left as a clerk in front of the account. There was also Xiahou Dun, a native of Pei State, named Yuan Rang, who was after Xiahou Ying. He was afraid of killing him and fled abroad. When he heard that Cao Cao had raised an army, he and his brother Xia Hoyuan each brought thousands of strong men to meet him. These two were brothers of Cao Cao. Cao Song, Chao's father, was originally the son of the Xiahou family. He had a marriage relationship with the Cao family, so they were of the same clan. Countless days. Cao brothers Cao Ren and Cao Hong each led more than 1,000 troops to help. Cao Ren was named Zixiao, and Cao Hong was named Zilian. They were both skilled in bow and horse, and proficient in martial arts. Cao was overjoyed and trained military horses in the village. Wei Hong spent all his money as a monk to buy clothes, armor, flags, and banners. Those who send food to all directions. Countless. At that time, Yuan Shao had to correct the imperial edict, so he gathered his civil and military forces, led 30,000 troops, and left the Bohai Sea to form an alliance with Cao Cao. Operate the proclamation to reach all counties. The proclamation said, Cao et al. Would like to declare to the world with great righteousness, Dong Zhuo deceived heaven and ignored the earth. Destroy the country and kill the king, destroy the palace and destroy the living beings, be ruthless and unkind, and accumulate evil. Today, according to the emperor's secret edict, a large number of righteous soldiers are gathered, vowing to wipe out the central plains and kill all the evil forces. Hope Xingxing Yishi will vent public anger together, support the royal family and save the people. When the message arrives, it can be implemented quickly. After Cao sent out the message, all the princes in each town raised troops to respond. In the first town, the general later, Nanyang prefect Yuan Shu. In the second town, Han Fu, the governor of Jizhou. In the third town, Kong Min, the governor of Yuzhou. Wang Quang, the governor of Hanoi County. In the sixth town, Zhang Miao, the governor of Chenlu. In the seventh town, Xiao Mao, the governor of Dongjun. In the eighth town, Yuan Yi, the governor of Shanyang. In the ninth town, Jibei Prime Minister Bao Xian. In the 10th town, Kong Rong, the governor of Beihai. In the 11th town, Zhang Chao, the prefect of Guangling. In the 12th town, Tao Qian, the governor of Shuzhou. In the 13th town, Ma Teng, the governor of Xiliang. In the 14th town, Gongsun Zan, the governor of Peking. In the 15th town, Zhang Yang, the governor of Shandong. Yuan Shao, the marquis of Qixing and the governor of Bohai. The various armies and horses, ranging in number from 30,000 to 10,000 to 20,000, each led civil servants and generals to surrender to Luoyang. Let's say Gongsun Zan, the governor of Peking, commanded 15,000 elite troops and passed through Pingyuan County, Dezhou. While walking, I saw a yellow flag among the mulberry trees in the distance, and several horses were coming to greet me. Zan regarded it as Lu Xuanda. Zan asked, "Why are you here, dear brother?" Xuanda said, "In the past, Brother Meng served as the magistrate of Pingyuan County. Now I heard that a large army has passed here, and I will wait for you in the future." He asked his brother to go into the city and rest his horse. Zan pointed to Guan and Zhang and asked, "Who is this?" Xuanda said, "Guan Yu and Zhang Fei are sworn brothers." Zan said, "Are they the same as those who broke the yellow turban?" Xuanda said, "It's all the power of these two people." Zan asked, "What position do you hold now?" Xuanda replied, "Guan Yu is the horse archer and Zhang Fei is the foot archer." Zan sighed and said, "This can be said to be a hero buried. Now Dongjua is causing trouble, and all the princes in the world are going to punish him. If I had been allowed to kill this thief at that time, I would have avoided what happened today." Yunchang said, "The matter has come to this, it is time to pack up and go forward." Xuanda, Guan, and Zhang led several cavalry to follow Gongsun Zan, and Cao Cao followed. All the princes also arrived one after another, and each set up camp in the camp. Connected for more than 200 miles. Can be the leader. Shao declined again and again, and everyone said it had to be Ben Chu, so Shao agreed. The next day, he built a 3-story platform with flags from all directions. On top of it, there were white axes and yellow axes, military talismans and general seals, and he invited Shao to come to the altar. Shao dressed in all his clothes. The sword was raised generously, and the incense was burned before worshipping. The alliance said, "The Han dynasty was in misfortune and the imperial authority was lost. The thief Dongjua took advantage of the provocation to cause harm to the Supreme Being and tortured the people. Shao and others were afraid of the loss of the country, so they gathered volunteers and went to the national disaster. All our allies must work together to achieve integrity, and we must have the same ambition. There is an alliance between Chongqing and Chongqing. If he falls to his fate, he will not be able to inherit his legacy. The emperor, the queen, the earth, the ancestors are wise, we all learn from this fact." After reading the poem, everyone burst into tears because of its generous words. When you have finished wiping the blood, go down to the altar. The crowd helped Shao to sit up in the tent, and the 2 rows sat in rows according to their titles and ages. Chao went on a drinking tour and said, "Today we have established alliance leaders, each of them will listen to orders and work together to support the country. Don't care about strength. Yuan Shao, don't violate it." Everyone said that they were just following orders. Firmly willing to be the front part. Shao said, "Wen Tai is a brave man who can take up this post." Jian then led his men and horses to kill Sisui Pass. The guards guarding the pass sent meteor horses to the Prime Minister's house in Luoyang to report the emergency. After Dong Zhuo took power, he had banquets every day. Li Ru received the urgent document. Come to show your talent. Zhuo was shocked and hurriedly gathered the generals to discuss. Lu Bu, the Marquis of Wen, stepped forward and said, "Father, don't worry. The princes outside the pass regard them as grass and mustard. I am willing to pick up all the tiger and wolf masters, behead them, and hang them in the capital." Zhuo Dashi said, "I have served first, so I can rest easy." Before he finished speaking, a person behind Lu Bu shouted loudly, "How can I use an ox knife to cut a chicken? I don't need to bother Marquis Wen to come in person. I will cut off the heads of all the princes, just like picking out ears from a bag." Zhuo was overjoyed when he heard this and was promoted to the captain of the Shaoqi school. He mobilized 50,000 horse and infantry troops and went to the pass to meet the enemy with Li Su, Hu Zhen, and Zhao Cun at night. Among the princes, Bao Xian, the prime minister of Jibei, thought that since Sun Jian was in the front, he was afraid that he would take the lead, so he secretly mobilized his younger brother Bao Zhong. First, the horse and infantry troops were 3,000, and they took the alleys until they reached the pass to fight. Hua Xiong led 500 iron cavalry, flew down from the pass, and shouted, "The thief will leave." Bao Zhong was eager to retreat, but Hua Xiong raised his sword and killed him under his horse. Many generals were captured alive. Hua Xiong sent someone to accompany Bao Zhong's head to the prime minister's mansion to report the victory, and Zhuo Jiaxiong became the governor. But he said that Sun Jian led 4 generals to the pass. Those 4 generals? The first one is from Tuyin, Yubiping. His surname is Cheng, given name is Pu, and given name is Demu. He makes an iron-spined snake spear. The second one is named Huang. The name Guy, whose courtesy name is Gongfu, is from Lingling, and he makes an iron whip. The third one, whose surname is Han, whose given name is Dang, whose courtesy name is Zigong, is from Lingji in western Liaoning, and who makes a broadsword. The fourth one, whose surname is Zhu, whose given name is Mao, whose given name is Mao Darong, a native of Fujian, Wu County, wields 2 swords. Sun Jian was wearing a battered silver armor and a red turban. Hungu Dingdao, riding a horse with a colorful mane, pointed at the gate and cursed, "You help the evil man, why don't you surrender early?" Hua Xiong's deputy general Hu Zhen led 5,000 troops out of the gate to fight. Cheng Pu's flying horse raised his spear and took Hu Zhen directly. After a long fight, Cheng Pu stabbed Hu Zhen in the throat and died under his horse. Jian led his troops to fight straight to the front of the pass, and the arrows from the pass were like rain. Sun Jian led his troops back to Liangdong to camp, sent people to Yuan Shao's place to report the victory, and sent troops to Yuan Shu's place to collect grain. Or the saying goes, Sun Jian is a fierce tiger from the east of the Yangtze River. If he breaks through Luoyang, he will kill Dong Zhuo. It is to get rid of the wolf and get the tiger. If we don't give them food now, their army will disperse. Shu heard this and did not distribute food and grass. Sun Jian's army was short of food and the army was in chaos. A detailed report was sent to the pass. Li Su advised Hua Xiong and said, "Tonight I will lead an army to go down the pass by a small road and attack the back of Sun Jian's stronghold." The general attacked the stronghold in front of him, which was strong enough to capture him. Xiong followed, and ordered the sergeants to have a good meal and go down to the pass at night. It was a clear night with a white moon and a clear breeze. When they arrived at Jianzhai, it was already midnight, and they marched forward with a lot of noise. Jian hurriedly put on his horse and mounted his horse, and met Hua Xiong. The two horses met each other, and the fight was endless. Later, Li Sujuan arrived and set fire to the sky. The strong army was in chaos. All the generals fought in a melee, except Zhu Mao and Ding Sun Jian, who broke through and left. Hua Xiong is chasing after him. Because he used too much force, he broke the magpie bow, so he had to abandon the bow and run on horseback. Zhu Mao said, "The red turban on my lord's head is pointed at the eyes, which will be recognized by thieves. You can take off the turban and wear it with someone." Jian took off the turban, changed into a Mao helmet, and walked away in 2 ways. The heroic army only hopes for the red-headed men to pursue them. Hardness is taken away from the path. Zhu Mao was chased by Hua Xiong, so he hung his red ribbon on a courtyard pillar that could not be burned, but went into hiding in the woods. Hua Xiong's army saw the red gauze in the distance under the moon. They surrounded it on all sides and did not dare to approach. "Shoot it with an arrow and you will know what the plan is." Then he went forward and took the red turban. Zhu Mao rushed out from behind the forest, swinging his swords to chop Hua Xiong. Xiong gave a loud shout and slashed Zhu Mao under his horse. They fought until dawn, and then the heroes led their troops to the pass. Cheng Pu, Huang Gai, and Han Dang all came to see Sun Jian. Then pack up the troops and horses and camp them out. Jian was deeply saddened by the loss of Zhu Mao and sent someone to report to Yuan Shao at Starry Night. Shao was shocked and said, "I don't want Sun Wentai to be defeated by Hua Xiong." Then he gathered all the princes to discuss. Everyone arrived, only Gongsun Zan came later, and invited him to sit in the tent. Shao said, "The day before yesterday, General Bao's brother disobeyed orders and went into the army without authorization, killing himself and killing many soldiers. Today, Sun Wentai was defeated by Hua Xiong again. What can be done to dampen his spirit?" None of the princes said anything. Shao raised his eyes and looked around. Seeing 3 people standing behind Gongsun Zan, they all looked strange and sneered. Shao asked, "Who is behind the prefect Gongsun?" Zan called Xuanda out and said, "I have been a brother since childhood, and Liu Bei is the commander of Pingyuan." Chao Chao asked, "Is it Liu Xuanda who broke the yellow turban?" Zan said, "Of course." He immediately ordered Liu Xuanda to pay his respects. Zan described Xuanda's achievements and background in detail. Shao said, "Since it is the Han Dynasty sect, come and sit down." He ordered him to sit down. "Thank you." Shao said, "I don't respect you as a noble, I respect you as the prince of the imperial family." Xuanda sat at the bottom. Guan and Zhang stood behind with their hands crossed. Suddenly a spy came to report. Hua Xiong led his iron cavalry down the pass, carried Prefect Sun's red headband on a long pole, and came to the stronghold to curse and challenge him to fight. Shao said, "Who dares to fight?" Yu Shi, the brave general, came out from behind Yuan Shu. Said, "Young general is willing to go." Shao Shi. Then he asked Yu Shi to go out. Immediately the report came, Yu Shi fought with Hua Xiong and was killed by Hua Xiong. Everyone was shocked. The prefect Han Fu said, "I have General Pan Feng who can kill Hua Xiong." Shao urgently ordered to fight. Pan Feng mounted the horse with a big axe in hand. Not long after leaving, Pegasus came to report. Pan Feng was beheaded by Hua Xiong again. Everyone was pale. Xiao said, "It's a pity that my generals Yan Liang and Wen Chou have not arrived yet. If you have one person here, why be afraid of Hua Xiong?" Before he finished speaking, someone at the bottom of the steps shouted, "Young general is willing to cut off Hua Xiong's head and offer it under the tent. Everyone is watching." I saw that his body was 9 feet long, his beard was 2 feet long, he had red phoenix eyes, lying silkworm eyebrows, his face was like a heavy jujube, and his voice was like a huge bell, standing in front of the tent. Xiao asked who it was. Gong Sun Zan said, "This is Lu Xuanda's younger brother Guan Yu." Xiao asked what his current position was. Zan said, "Follow Lu Xuanda and serve as a horse archer." Yuan Shu shouted loudly in the tent, "You deceive all our princes and have no generals? How dare you speak nonsense if you measure an archer? Fight with me." Qiao Qiao stopped hastily and said, "Calm down the road. Since this man speaks big words, he must be brave. If he fails to win, it is not too late to punish him. If you send an archer into battle, you will be laughed at by Hua Xiong." Qiao Qiao said, "This man has a good appearance. Does Hua Xiong know that he is an archer?" Guan Gong said, "If you can't win, please behead someone." Qiao Jiao made a cup of hot wine, drank it with Guan Gong and got on his horse. Guan Gong said, "Pour down the wine. I will come as soon as I leave." He came out of the tent, picked up his sword, and flew on his horse. All the princes heard the loud beating of drums and loud shouts outside the pass, as if the sky was shattering and the earth was falling, and the mountains were shaking and the mountains were collapsing, and everyone was shocked. Just as he was about to inquire, at the sound of the Luan bell, the horse arrived at the center of the army. Yun Cheng picked up Hua Xiong's head and threw it to the ground. The wine is still warm. Later generations wrote a poem praising it, saying, "The most powerful work in controlling the world, the painted drums on the gate of the camp ring every winter." Yun Cheng stopped the wine to show his bravery, and when the wine was still warm, he killed Hua Xiong. Qiao Qiao was overjoyed. Zhang Fei appeared behind Xuanda and shouted loudly, "My brother has killed Hua Xiong. How long will it take to enter the pass here and capture Dong Zhuo alive?" Yuan Shu was furious and shouted, "I am still humble enough to show off my power to a county magistrate's subordinates." Everyone was kicked out of the tent. Qiao Qiao said, "Those who achieve merit will be rewarded, so why should they be considered noble or inferior?" Yuan Shu said, "Since I only value one county magistrate, I should resign." Qiao Qiao said, "How can I miss a big event just by saying a word?" He ordered Gong Sun Zan to take Xuanda, Guan, and Zhang back to the stronghold. All the officials dispersed. Qiao Qiao secretly sent someone to drink wine with cows to appease the three of them. But he said that Hua Xiong's army was defeated and reported to the pass. Li Su hurriedly wrote an emergency document to inform Dong Zhuo. Zhuo urgently gathered Li Ru, Lu Bu, and others to discuss. Confucianism said, "Now that we have lost our general Hua Xiong, the bandit force is huge. Yuan Shao is the leader of the alliance, and Shao's uncle Yuan Wei is now the Taifu. If the inside should be combined with the outside, which is deeply inconvenient, you can eliminate it first. Please ask the Prime Minister to lead the army and divide it into groups to suppress and arrest." Zhuo Ran said, "Call Li Chui and Guosi to lead 500 troops, surround the house of Grand Tutor Yuan Wei, kill them all regardless of old or young, First take Yuan Wei's head to the front of the pass and give orders. Zhuo then raised 200,000 troops and divided them into two groups. One group ordered Li Ju and Guosi to lead 50,000 troops to hold Sisui Pass and not fight. Zhuo himself sent 150,000 troops to join Li Ru, Lu Bu, and Fan Chou. Zhang Ji and others guarded Hulao Pass. This pass is 50 miles away. When the troops and horses arrived at the pass, Zhuo ordered Lu Bu to lead 30,000 troops and go to the pass to camp in the stronghold. Zhuo Zizai closed his camp. Meteor Horse heard the news and reported to Yuan Shao's stronghold. Shao gathered everyone to discuss. Cao Cao said, Dong Zhuo stationed troops in Hulao and intercepted the middle road of the princes. Now we can draw half of our troops to meet the enemy. Lu Bu galloped to meet him with 3,000 cavalry. General Wang Quang lined up his horses in battle, and when he looked under the horse gate, he saw Lu Bu coming out of the battle, wearing a purple gold crown with a three-pronged hair, a Sichuan red brocade 100-flower robe on his body, and a chain armor with an animal face and a swallowing head. He wears an armored and exquisite lion belt around his waist. He carries a bow and arrow with him, and holds a painted halberd. He sits down on a red rabbit horse and neighs in the wind. He is indeed Lu Bu among men and Red Rabbit among horses. Wang Quang turned around and asked, Who dares to fight? A general behind him rode out with his gun drawn. Watch it. It was Fang Yu, a famous general in Hanoi. The two horses were crossing each other, but Lu Bu stabbed him under the horse with a halberd. He then charged straight towards him. Quang's army was defeated and scattered in all directions. It's like entering an uninhabited land when people rush to kill. Fortunately, both Qiao Mao and Yuan Yi's troops arrived